Okay guys, this is Cruiseroy. I'm back with the FW450 and we're changing out a 2.0 ESC for the version 3 that I had to put in, and I purchased a version 4 ESC. Alright, and we discussed all the differences and the things that look the same, and let's try to put it back in the bird now. I had to take a break. Alright, so I left the tail wire in there so I could pull it out and remember. If you look at it, you have two wires that are together and a single wire, but that's just the M60 connectors. That's the way they're designed. It doesn't really mean anything. These motors are three-phase. You know, they'll run even in that direction, but it's just to help, I guess, Flywing make that quick connector for your tail. Alright, so pulling this all out of the way, my glue restuck on the ESC here, so maybe I can reuse it if I can get it off of this one. But for now, let's place this on the side. This is a good ESC. It's just a 2.0 4-cell one. Alright, so now let's bring over the new one. What I'm going to do is just see, this is what I don't understand. We're going to put tape on top of this, and this isn't very flush with the aluminum here. So we'll see what happens with that. But let me route. I want to get these wires out of my way for right now. The telemetry. What I want to do is try to get the tail in there, and I said the single wire was on the bottom, even though that doesn't mean anything. Try to get the screw in here. It's going to be a little tough this way. I took the tail section out last time. This time here I'm going to try to put it back in this way. Come on. Trying to line up the screw holes. See if it goes in a little easier than it came out. And I would say make sure these are tight. Well, let me get the other one in there before I tighten it too much. Then make sure it's tight, because this is where the quick connect tail goes in and out. And like I said, the PCB board's different on this one. It's black. It's actually shaped differently, but the holes line up. So I didn't have a problem there. Right now I'm trying to get them tight. Like I said, the tail was fine on the other ESC. It's just the motor was in reverse. I might have to... Alright. I might have to take the motor wire here, just the one from the motor, and put it in the other direction, back where it was, you know what I mean? So, alright, so that's the tail wire, and there seems to be enough flex here, so that one's okay. Let me do the second easiest one here, which is going to be the battery telemetry. If you can see this, I'm going to go up and over. Alright, These wires need to stay in this channel. Between this channel and that channel. Right there, there's two little slots here. Alright. Next is the dual servo. So you have your main motor, which is the ESC, which is the 3-wire, and then the single wire is the tail. So back underneath, I don't want to tape that yet. I want to make sure these servo wires make it here. So first, let's just connect the wires. Let's put him off to the side. Alright, so always make sure on your flight controller you put these servo connectors right. You have positives in the center, signal wires at the bottom, which they have, Flywing has put a white wire, it's like a white stripe, negative on the top. So we know the tail one is only a single, so you want that as a signal wire, so the signal wire goes to the bottom. So the single wire is the tail wire. And then the ESC one, you want to flip it, because it's not in the right position here, and that's the ESC plus BEC that's built into the unit. Alright, so there we are, we're plugged in there. So let me try, let's do the fish thing here. The wires seem a little shorter. Alright, so I think what we'll do next, it seems like everything's okay. I can either fish these going up through or keep them down here on the bottom. But what I want to do is get my trusty alcohol and a rag, alcohol, take a sip. You want to clean the old ESC plate, clean the ESC. For a minute here, let me look at this ESC. I might leave it there. Yeah, I'll never get it off without ruining it. So, the one I have is a little smaller, but it's the same thickness. And it's just to hold it down. It's not like a flight controller where it needs stabilization. But I'm going to put it on here, but if you notice, I'm afraid of covering this up. Maybe it'll melt and loosen up, but I'm going to put it in the middle. Peel it off. So you don't want to come off. Alright. Alright. So, let's get this even on here. Put it even. Let's put even pressure for a little bit here. Okay. Now look at the main motor connector. we have two wires here. Instead of it plugging into the ESC, you got two. So, little difference here. What I'm gonna do, I gotta go hunt down some wire ties so I can get this all back and tied up together, okay? I mean, I'm going slow just to show you, but also you could have everything set up like your wire ties and all of that. But I have to go hunt for mine right now. I'll be right back. Alrighty guys. Let's try to strategically get these wires so they're definitely not hitting the gears. So I'm just going to put this in temporarily for a guide. But these wires went underneath the motor and slipped by, got tied to the servo and just slipped over the top of this main gear. So let me get that out of the way. Try to stack them because they're sure close to this spiral gear. Alrighty. I'm try to stack the wires. It also came across and they wire tied it to the servo mount. That's where I had the original one was there. I did the two on the motor mount. And you gotta get them flat and stacked, otherwise they could hit the main gear. Alright, that's not in the right place. Where was it? I goofed, guys. The frame has to go here, so I can't wire tie it to that. Alright. I messed up on that one, guys. Should have known that, dum-dum. Alright, I'll use a razor blade on that. Alright, so I can't go there where the servo is, but I can come around. Could have sworn I had one on there. Tuck it under here and through the servo. I just can't put it where the frame's going to be. No, we can't go through the screw hole. We can go here. You gotta remember there's a frame that has to go back on here, so this video is going to be awfully long. Probably. Remember doing this last time and it was just fun, and I tightened up on them later. So we got these going here. There's nothing up in there, so we want it away from the gear. So tuck the tail one up in the frame. Nothing there you have to worry about, and it kind of puts that, the BEC one, or the telemetry, and I'm gonna say I'm not gonna bring these seem to be shorter, they went this way before, but I'm gonna bring them up through this slot right here in the frame, and hopefully that's okay. So we're all in that notch. Okay, I'm looking at it, looking at it, looking at it. I lost this again. I have to put them on, put the frame on, and then tighten those up. I just want to make sure it's nowhere near the main gear. Comes up there into that channel. So let's try it. I can cut this one off. Alright, let's tinker with the frame. Make sure that none of these wires get pinched where the bolts go. I wonder if I can do this instead this time. Put that servo wire where it belongs. No, it doesn't like that. It needs to come up straight. So let's do one more removal because it's going to be a lot harder Just take this servo mount off and take this servo out. Alright, I loosened this servo because I wasn't going to fight with the frame. Alright, so the servo's up out of the way for a moment. All these wires are in this channel. This wire for the receiver comes out this way, the BEC. This one's away from the main shaft. These are still on. Alright. Alright. Okay. Let's start up near the ESC frame. Alright. It's good for a night job. You know, you want to do something. I don't know how long it took me. I didn't put a timer on this. You got to remember the two here, dabbied with a little Loctite. And then I'll cut these wires out of the way as long as they're not touching the main gear. Alright. Got a couple more here. Alright, let me put the two servos back in here. Well, the one servo. You know, they tell you anytime you mess with servos, do the servo dance. Check your servos, make sure they're centered properly. But I didn't really disconnect the servo or from the swash or anything. I just kind of loosened it to get it out of the way so I didn't pinch the wire. Alright. I know I got two more up here. The two tail ones. No wires are pinched. You gotta remember one's for the body though. the upper ones for the body. Alright, we got a misalignment here. Alright. See, these originally came through here, but they're not long enough this time to make it. They're a little bit shorter. We leave this bolt out for the canopy. I am missing 2 here. So I have 3 left. Let's search for them. Swash guide definitely has one. Then the servo upper bearing mount. Alright, I got 2 for the skids. I got a long Jesus bolt. Where was... There's 2 here. So I'm actually missing 2 here. There's 1. So I have 2 for the skids, 4 for the one large one for the Jesus bolt, 4 for the canopy. I'm actually short 1 here. I'll have to re-watch the video to see if there was 1 even in there. That's just for the lower bearing block, but it is missing. And I do not see it anywhere here. Interesting. Alright, so I'll have to find my tape for the tail here. So the rear skids had a screw. Alright. Didn't take any screws off from that side, but we do have to do the main gear. I'm going to tighten these and try to snip them off. Snip that one and snip that one off. Alright, just want to double check, but I am missing a screw. Yeah, usual. I don't think I lost it. I think I got missing in action before. Alright, so now main gear. Main gear. Put the main gear, now we go to find, so the cap bolt went in, yep, okay, we got the cap bolt. right there, I think. Guys and dolls. Nope. Don't want to use the power drill for that. Alright. Let's try the main gear again. Trying to get the screw on one hand here. Why am I not getting it? It's all lined up, but I'm not getting it for some reason. Alright. What is wrong? I can't get it because the bolt's in the way. Alright. Alright. What was happening is this bolt's in the way and I'm trying to get the bearing in there. But let me make sure I can get it in. Sometimes that inner bearing slides over. Alright. So we're good. We're good. There's no bolt in the way. Lift it up. Put it back in. Okay, let's try this again. Main shaft bearing bolt wouldn't go in because there was another nut in its way. So maybe this time. I don't know why I'm having problems here. Okay, she's working her way through. There's a little tight problem there, that's all. Alright, good. Main shaft's in. Let me bring the servos up. That one ain't gonna want to come up by itself. Put a battery to it, I guess. Alright, so I guess one thing I want to check. I won't run the tail, but I just want to make sure it locks in. Here's the tail. Okay. Plugs in just fine. Remove the tail. I don't want to put the canopy on yet. The main motor, I got a funny feeling is going to be wrong. Alright, but I noticed the new ESC has a whole different plug here, which I might have to change for the rotation, but I'll plug it in. It looks like we need to push this under here, which shouldn't give any more slack to the wires to the motor. Alright. I'm going to use a low voltage battery. This is my little test battery. It's only a 1000 milliamp. And this one's only a 4 cell. So I just want to see if everything's okay. We'll bring the radio over. Let's back up a little bit. Let's see what's going to happen when I plug this in. That's a different type of noise. Okay. Yeah, nothing sounds good here. Alright, something ain't right here, so let me pull this out. Maybe this battery doesn't have enough charge in it. Alright, let me bring my 2700 over, my smaller battery. Not liking all those sounds there. And let's, of course this is reversed. Got to twist the battery and change its direction here. Yeah, I can't even get my battery in here. Well, that sucks. Do I have a big boy? I have a nice big one here. And the wire is still too short. Yep, not happy about this. They reversed the direction. It can't reach. I would have to reverse. Well, let me just plug it in, I guess. Alright, some kind of problem here. I'm not liking this. It's messing up the flight controller. The RX is going back and forth. Alright, what's up here? Alright, folks. Plus and minus is correct. Let me disconnect the motor. Yeah, the flight controller ain't doing a proper dance here. Alright, not happy with that. So I disconnected the motor. Move the radio, battery, the ESC battery. I got the telemetry plugged in right, positive, negative. The BEC and tail are correct. So what's the problem, flywing, before I go any further with this? Okay, I think this is video 4. The radio's on. I plugged it into the 1.9 software and set it to default. And I'm going to plug a battery into it again. I don't know what it's doing, but it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. So I had a perfectly good flying FW450 V3. And the motor wants to move by itself. .3D mode. Put it in 3D. If you look at the servos, it's not moving right. It's starting up by itself. Alright. I'm not happy. Because now either one of my ESCs work because I think the flight controller got burnt. Alright. Let's cruise right and I'm out of here.